your college performance does not relate to the National Football League. It never does.
They played side by side with each other, and he wasn't as good as Quinn Ewers. That's an issue. That's a major issue.
It wasn't that it wasn't as good as Quinn Ewers.
Ever got to Texas.
It wasn't that it wasn't as good as Quinn Ewers. It was Quinn Ewers' program, which Steve Sarkisian made very clear the entirety of the time that Arch Manning was in Austin. So for you to argue that because Ewers is a 7th-round pick, Arch Manning is not that good and not deserving of being first overall is asinine. It is wrong. It is incorrect.
I told you he's going to be number 1 overall. My whole thing was I'm buying
you're doing your thing now where you double down on a take that is incorrect.
The best quarterback prospect to ever hit college football can't play
He's
over
not,
a 7th-round pick
There were two perfectly rated quarterback recruits in the history of the sport.
Quinn Ewers couldn't even play at Ohio State. He couldn't even play at Ohio State.
Quinn Ewers. Go look it up.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.
It's the end of a coaching era for Hall of Famer Greg Popovich, and we're going to be breaking down the Kentucky Derby week with NBC's Randy Moss and Churchill Downs president Mike Anderson. Welcome into our final edition of Front Office Sports Today for the week. We've got our colorful Derby fits on. I'm Renee Washington.
And I'm Baker Machado. I forgot my fascinator though today. We're closing out the premiere week, so we're happy that you're joining us. We'll get to a lot of those stories that Renee mentioned and more. But first, let's dive into some of the other things we're looking at in the shoot-around.
Yes, the NBA's longest tenured coach, Greg Popovich, is finished coaching, and interim coach Mitch Johnson's going to step into the head coaching role. Now, Pop first got involved with the San Antonio Spurs front office back in 1994, became head coach in 96, and has been a big part of so many great memories, from the players to the 5 championships to the 3 NBA Coach of the Years, Team USA, and even paving the way for other coaches like Becky Hammon, who became the first female assistant in the league.
When he took over in 1996 from the front office, it was sort of looked at as, who's this guy from the front office taking over for Bob Hill, who was then with David Robinson at the time. But 1,400 wins, 5 championship later, the team valuation went from $76 million when he first took went first as the head coach to $3.8 billion now. I mean, what a ride for Greg Popovich.
Absolutely, and we knew this day was coming, especially after the stroke he suffered on November 2nd for the 76-year-old, that Pop would not be on the sidelines forever. Well, the NBA has also announced another Pop that's not going to be on the sidelines for the NBA playoffs in the near future. Tyrese Halliburton's dad, John, will not be able to attend home or away games for the foreseeable future. Now, John did address the situation in an interview with TMJ4. Let's take a look.
It might have seemed like I was looking at him, but I really wasn't. I was looking through him. And I was yelling, yay, yay, yay. Giannis never said anything to me. I never said anything to Giannis. I'm telling you, I did not do that on purpose. I really did not.
Yay. He said yay, at least.
I don't know how you're looking through the 2-time MVP at 7-footer and Giannis Antetokounmpo, but John has said he's understanding and accepting of the choice. He apologized. And for his son, Tyrese, the 21st highest paid player in the league and the highest paid pacer of all-time program history. So still suspended indefinitely for this moment.
Well, John has gone to a lot of games. I mean, he even travels and goes to the games internationally for Team USA as well. I don't understand what the foreseeable future is. Is that just this next playoff round? What happens if the Pacers make it to the finals? What happens next year? A lot to get to there.
A lot to get to there, too. But with the WNBA preseason tipping off this weekend, RFOS women's sports reporter Annie Costabile wrote a piece on the ESPNW Summit in Brooklyn, sharing how the WNBPA executive director, Terry Carmichael Jackson, talked about how aggressive they're going to be in discussing proposals and meetings, because, of course, the league and the WNBPA have to come to an agreement before next season, or else a lockout is inevitable.
Yeah, and they have so much leverage here. Why wouldn't they, with the new media rights deal that the league just signed? And we should note that Supermax salary right now for a WNBA player is $250,000. Backup catchers in Major League Baseball make more than that. The players realize that the ball is in their court, and this is why they should be aggressive. But you'd also hope they don't have a work stoppage and basically stall out all the momentum that the W has had
Topics
so far.
like salary, maternity leave, and roster size are at the forefront of these issues. Well, it is Derby week. We've got our delicious mint juleps in the studio. Let's cheers to that.
Us.
And the horses are ready to race in the Kentucky Derby. Well, not all 20. Grande, one of the favorites, has actually been a late scratch speaker.
Yeah, just recently out because of a bruised foot. Rodriguez, another horse, is out for the same exact reason. What's interesting, Grande had the 4th best odds going into this. Journalism still doing pretty well, though.
Yeah, and Grande's owner, Mike Rapoli, did say that Grande was fine this week, making good progress in their training, and also surprised that he was scratched, and unsure why he was scratched, more importantly. So with that, let's get into some other updates from Churchill Downs. As early this week, Baker and I caught up with 2 special guests. So let's get into our first Derby discussion in our main event.
It is time for one of the best moments in horse racing this weekend, as we've got the Kentucky Derby ahead of us at Churchill Downs. So joining us with more on all of this is our friend Randy Moss over at NBC Sports. Randy, good to have you here. Before we get into some of the ins and outs of the race this weekend, I'm curious, how does a horse even get to the Kentucky Derby?
It's a long process. There are a series of prep races with points that horses can earn to qualify their way into the Kentucky Derby. There's a 20-horse limit to the number of horses that can run. Back in the day, it was kind of rare to have a 20-horse field, but now every owner that's got a 3-year-old that's decent wants to be part of that Derby experience. So I think it's going to be 20 horses pretty much every year going forward.
This is going to be over your 40th Kentucky Derby you've covered, over your 20th you've covered with NBC Sports. What we love so much about this race is the history and sort of the charm of Churchill Downs, but it seems like they've sort of been able to sort of evolve with the times and keep it really relevant and interesting. How have they done that over all the years that you've been able to cover this race?
Well, when I first, it's 45, actually, believe it or not. I don't want to correct you on that because I think 40 sounds better than 45. It doesn't make me quite as old. When I first started coming to Churchill Downs, this is back, my first Derby was in 1980, okay? And throughout the 1980s, throughout most of the 1990s, Churchill Downs was not it was prestigious in terms of the Kentucky Derby. But if you were going to rate the top 10 racing facilities in America, Churchill Downs wouldn't be on that list. It was sort of run down, and when people went to Churchill, because it was the home of the Derby and didn't know anything about it, oftentimes they were disappointed. But Churchill Downs Incorporated, the parent company, has done an amazing job over the last 15 years or so of really giving the facility an unbelievable facelift. And it looks nothing like it looked 30 years ago. I mean, it's really a top-notch racing facility now, and it's really, they do it just for this weekend. That's how big the Kentucky Derby is in terms of a moneymaker for Churchill Downs, and it will, as always, it will be packed.
Yeah, it will be, with over 150,000 people in attendance. And last year to have 16.7 million viewers, which was a 13% increase from the previous year. And at the time was the highest NBC broadcast for any major event. When you look at the growth of this, how do you feel that the legalization around sports gambling has influenced the increase in audience?
Well, I think the explosion of all kinds of gambling, most recently sports gambling. But I mean, when you think back to the heyday of horse racing, 1940s, 50s, 60s, even into the 1970s, if Americans wanted to wager, and Americans do like to wager, they pretty much had to go to the racetrack. That was the only option, unless they wanted to play the numbers game on the streets or whatever. And then the lotteries came in, and then the riverboat casinos, and then the Indian casinos, and then at-home betting and online poker. And now you've got sports gambling as well. And it has really eroded the market share that thoroughbred racing has had on a regular basis, right? Just during the course of the year. But in the United States, I think, in my opinion, this is the way I look at it, we are a nation that really embraces the big event in sports, right? I didn't pay any attention to golf until last weekend, and I tuned in for the last half of Sunday's round to pull like hell for Rory McIlroy. I don't follow the NBA until it gets to the playoffs. I just casually follow Major League Baseball until it gets to the World Series. And a lot of people don't pay any attention to horse racing until you get to the Kentucky Derby and until you get to the Triple Crown. And when you look at it from that standpoint, the Derby has never been more popular. And it goes back to 1875. It was 2017 before the Kentucky Derby had its first $200 million total handle, right? And a lot of that has to do with the at-home betting now that wasn't available technologically and it wasn't legal back in the day. But 2017, 20 million was wagered. Last year, 330 million was wagered. The first time it ever cracked the $300 million mark. And so it's just taking off. And you mentioned the NBC ratings as well. The Kentucky Derby is the biggest of the big events in horse racing. It's kind of an Americana event. And because of that, it's still cruising right along with incredible popularity, while the rest of the sport sometimes is struggling.
Brandy, thank you so much for your time. Hopefully you enjoy being down at the Kentucky Derby. Another year of mint juleps and fun action and horse racing. After this break, we've got more coming up here on Front Office Sports Today. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Cosmo was supposed to fight Ciaran Clark, but he had to pull off injury. You get the call. You get to go in there. What was it like for you when you got that call, jumping in there and be part of this bantamweight tournament on short notice?
Terrifying, man. 2 weeks notice against a stud, but I've been preparing my whole life for it, and I couldn't say no to the opportunity, and saw what happened. I came in there and kind of shocked the world. Not kind of, I did.
Only on SportsGrid.
Malaysia Fawali, who you guys know I am a huge fan, has decided to switch allegiances and stay in league. And now she's going to go play for Kim Mulkey. Her, Flau'jae Johnson in the backcourt. It's going to be interesting to watch. You wonder sometimes with roster construction, maybe too much is not too good.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
We know your other brother Marv did the Knicks forever, but you've done just about every team in the league. You did Ames, you did Dr. J games.
But after 45 years in this crazy business, people kept telling me, you gotta write a book. So I did, and here it is.
Pharrell, Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Welcome back to Front Office Sports Today. Baker, myself, Renee here. And with the field set, the odds in, and the start of the 151st Kentucky Derby on the brink, we're going to bring in the president of Churchill Downs, Mike Anderson, joining us. Mike, so nice to have you here because already we're seeing the Kentucky Derby's attendance shatter last season's attendance from day one. Obviously, we know the TV ratings already are fantastic for the Kentucky Derby, but the attendance in person just as well. What are you seeing from the sights and sounds of the Derby so far?
Well, first, thanks, Renee. Thanks, Baker, for having me on today. We're right in the middle of Derby week. It's not just the Kentucky Derby day, but it's an entire week of celebration. We've had a terrific start from opening night last Saturday, rolled into 5-0 Tuesday, and then Wednesday yesterday with terrific crowds, record crowds on Tuesday and Wednesday. So the excitement is still there, And despite the fact that our anniversary of Derby 150 was last year, people are still enthused to be out here. So we are getting a great vibe, great passion, and getting more and more people that want to come out to the track, not only for Derby Day, but throughout the week as well.
Love that.
Yeah, but I got to ask about the weather. There's been some reports of really sort of potential torrential rain, all of this stuff. What's the weather looking like for this weekend? And are there protocols in place, Mike, in case the weather does get bad?
Well, first of all, we always like to think we're going to have that 72 degrees and sunny on Derby Day. At least internally, that's what we like to think. We did have a chance of rain most of this week, and it's been relatively dry. It is a little sprinkling right now on Thursday. We expect a chance of rain, but that doesn't deter people from being here. People got to be here, got to see what's new that we've created for everybody. So people are excited despite the chance of rain, which may or may not happen.
And as you talk about what's new for those in attendance, obviously able to show off that $200 million project that you guys rolled out for everyone in attendance. There was a snag that we saw released around the $920 million renovation project that you guys hit. I'm curious to know what's kind of the next steps for you guys in terms of working through that. So many great things you're looking to incorporate in that project. What's next for Churchill Downs in making sure that that project can be brought to fruition?
Yeah, like you said, we completed our $200 million renovation of the paddock, which is the heartbeat of the track, and everybody gets to see with the action where the equine athletes and the human athletes joined before they go out on the track for the race. So that was fantastic, and we're still getting rave reviews about that a year later. This year, we're debuting our $85 million starting gate courtyard and pavilion, which is just outside my window here. So we'll find out how our customers like that today, the first days that they get to enjoy that. And then in the future, we have planned a huge multi-year project that we announced a couple of months ago, a $900 million project to demolish the Sky building, which is dated, and we need to renovate that, as well as some really cool infield concepts that are along the finish line, and we can't wait to get started on that. We did announce a brief pause till we figure out to have a little more certainty around the cost of that project. But once we get going on that, whether it's in a couple months or next year, that $900 million project is going to be spectacular for people and one of the most transformational projects that we've done to date.
It's clear, obviously, experiences are a big thing here, Mike, but I mean, Churchill Downs, the history and the legacy is there. How do you sort of keep it going and keep interest there for another 150 plus years and get newer and younger people excited about horse racing?
That is our job. That is our job every single day, to keep things fresh, to create new experiences, to create these new little private speakeasies that people don't know that's all across our property. So every year when people come back, it's not just the same seat, the same experience. So we create these new experiences for people to say, you know what, I went to Derby last year, but I got to go this year because I got to see with the new project they just finished. So it is a project that we put on after listening to our fans. They tell us, hey, it'd be nice if we had more suites, more covered seats, more super experiential services or experiences that we can put on. So that's exactly what our job is every day, every year, is to make sure it's fresh and more people are coming out. Our partners have been fantastic with us with executions out here, whether it's Woodford Reserve, whether it's Ford, whether it's Longines, our longtime partners, or new partners like Wisconsin Cheese that are coming in this year. So we keep it really fresh and cool, and people have that sense of they have to be here every year.
Keeping it fresh, and not just with the snazzy fit you're rocking today, Mike, but also with the incredible things you guys are doing at the home of America's greatest race, the Kentucky Derby. Since it is Derby week, thank you so much, Mike, for taking time to join us from Churchill Downs Racetrack. So excited for what 151 can bring, and as Baker mentioned, 151 more years of Kentucky
That's
Derby.
Right.
Really quickly, Mike, how many mint juleps are you guys going to sell this weekend?
Oh, it'll be a couple 100,000 juleps.
Oh, wow.
Not for me, but for our fans.
We just need one. Daryl, we'll get someone to bring us one.
Thank you, Renee. Thank you very much for having me.
Of course. Thank you, Mike. Mike Anderson, president of Churchill Downs Racetrack. And you just see why every year the Kentucky Derby is one of the only non-NFL sports that are the most watched on TV. And for the Kentucky Derby, for the 6th year in a row, they're featuring a horse that did not race as a 2-year-old in Grande.
Yeah.
They've got the star power. You've got the young storyline of Grande. You've got others like Journalism, Sovereignty, that are also some favorites. Mystic Dan, another to keep an eye on. Horse star power is what horsepower is what we're getting here.
No dark horses, no pun intended on this one. Yeah, you mentioned Journalism, obviously the favorite here at 3-1 odds. We should of course mention because betting is legal at Churchill Downs, and of course we see it all over the country. So the interest in Journalism is there at 3-1 odds because he has won 4 straight wins, including just recently at Santa Anita, which is big. But Sovereignty, Sandman also right behind that. So going to be fascinating to see. What happens in this, what I love, is it goes by so fast.
It's
so much attention and so much excitement boils down to just a few seconds. 12-hour broadcast for 30 seconds of racing.
That's why I love the fact that even as Mike alluded to, it's Derby week.
Yes.
They're not making this a situation when people are paying thousands of dollars to come down to Churchill Downs Racetrack to be there for a 2-minute event. They stretch this out. You've got the outfits, you've got the food, you've got all the excitement around it. The mint juleps.
Hundreds of thousands of mint juleps.
I mean, I was looking at the menu salivating. So the Kentucky Derby week is a week-long event. It's not a one-day or even just a 2-minute thing, but it's going to be exciting to watch.
Yes.
So we've got more to come up here on Front Office Sports Today. After this break, stay tuned for more.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip? Try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
They've won 7 in a row. They've been dominant at Citi Field. Lindor's been insane. Pete Alonso's been raking.
Griffin Canning, David Peterson, those guys have pitched really, really well. And when you put it together with that lineup, especially like you said, Lindor's been great. They've got the makings of something very special in Queens.
Pharrell, Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Fans hate them. Like, kids go to Giant games and they're like, my father forces me to come, or my grandfather was a season ticket holder. Like, no one has fun. It's a miserable place to go.
The Giants' problem has always been over the last several years, and it's been the reason why Barkley never really got off, is the offensive line.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high, but the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that ring. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
Just a little flyer, couple of 15.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Welcome back to Front Office Sports Today, with preseason games tipping off this weekend for the WNBA. And for the first time ever this year, 4 games airing nationally. So Caitlin Clark, Asia Wilson, Paige Beckers, and all the stars are out. Let's bring in our own star, our own Bruce Forsyth, a.k.a. producer John Shames, to tee it up for us in a WNBA edition of Higher or Lower.
Oh
Shames?
my God, you really think I'm a star. I love
Yes.
that. What a compliment. Well, I'm happy to be here for a second day in a row. The people are going to get sick of me, but when we got a good game, you got to bring the boys in the back involved and the gals in the back too. So higher or lower WNBA edition. We're talking about some of the key numbers around the WNBA offseason right now. We're going to give you 3 scenarios here, 3 questions. You're going to tell me higher or lower, and we'll take it from there.
Okay.
Sound good?
I like it.
Okay. First up, Caitlin Clark returning to Iowa this weekend for a preseason game. We talked to Ryan Rucco about it. Very exciting for the league. Guess the price of that ticket. Is it higher or lower than $350 on average, the average ticket price for that game?
This is an exhibition game. It's
Correct.
crazy to think that even at $350 for an exhibition, that's still so expensive. But these are hot tickets right now. I'm actually thinking it's higher. I'm going to say this is like $500.
Yeah, Caitlin Clark back in Iowa. I'm 1,000% going higher for this one.
Okay, we're both higher.
Yeah.
Great. Good intuition, guys. It is higher. Yay! It is not 500 quite, but it is $440.
That's still crazy.
The price is right. 400 as the average ticket price.
Even for a regular season,
you know what?
that's expensive.
I love this. It's needed. It's deserved. The WNBA and the Caitlin Clark brand alone have earned this type of a ticket price. So exciting. I'm glad that we are correct.
All right, what's next?
Yep. So we got that one right. Number 2 here. The price of a WNBA Prism card set, which is a specific brand of trading card. The NBA version is $800, so we're setting that price as the higher or lower number.
$800.
Okay.
You owe me a Pepsi.
I'm gonna go lower. 800 still hot and high, but I'm maybe it's 400, maybe it's 500, but I bet it's close. I bet it's close.
I'm no trading card expert. I do actually have a women's basketball trading card for Juju Watkins. Fun fact.
Ooh, okay.
But I know that's a really high ticketed thing. It's like one of the big booming industries. I'm actually gonna go higher. I just feel like trading cards are all the rage right now.
High.
People are trying to lock. I'm gonna go higher.
All right,
who's right? Who's wrong?
So Baker. Renee, ding, 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 ding. You are correct. The answer is $1,200. Yeah, really.
Way higher.
Yeah, so a sign of the times for the WNBA.
So you take the 800 from that and the 400 from the average ticket price, and you get the 1,200.
Exactly.
Math is nothing.
All right, last one here, okay? Number of WNBA teams who have unveiled facility upgrades in the past year. We are thinking of the pool being 15 teams, including the 3 new expansion clubs in Golden State, Toronto, and Portland. So the higher or lower number is 7.
Ooh, I'm going to say lower. I'm going to say 5.
In this era for the WNBA, I'm going higher.
Higher?
It is the time. The league is booming. Facilities, resources, stadiums are coming together. Portland just announced an arena potentially in conjunction with the Thorns.
I'm going low.
I'm going higher.
Yeah, Renee's cooking right now. The answer is higher. 9 teams.
Wow.
9 teams have announced facility upgrades in the past year. Yeah, so again, all the numbers pointing in the right direction on the upswing right now for the W. Good stuff, guys.
I am so bad at this game.
I love this though, because it's just such a testament of where the WNBA is going. The ticket sales, the excitement around, even cards. Such a fun time right now for the WNBA, and this season gonna be a magical one.
Thanks, James.
Yes, appreciate you, Shames, for weighing in and having some fun that's on higher or lower. So with that, as we have almost a complete sports equinox going on this weekend, of course, no NFL games, so it's not complete, but almost. Let's get into the water cooler and see what's bubbling over at the FOS water cooler. All right, we've got plenty of games to watch this weekend. Sports fans, I hope you've got the popcorn, the snacks, the mint juleps, whatever you need ready, because Baker, listen to this list of sports events going on this weekend. We've got boxing near us right in Times Square, actually. The title card is Teofimo Lopez Jr. versus Arnold Barboza Jr. Lopez is going for the WBO Junior welterweight title. You've got the Kentucky Derby, of course. We have the F1 Miami Grand Prix, the UFC fight night in Des Moines, plus Arena Sabalenka and Coco Gauff are in the Madrid Open Finals. The CJ Cup, Byron Nelson in Texas. Are you writing this down? And we've got the NBA and NHL playoffs, which have at least 6 series, not games, that could potentially go to a game 7. I hope you have all that going, because it's a lot.
Yeah, and not even on top of that, you have baseball this weekend. The Dodgers playing the Braves, who have really sort of turned their season around as well. So you're right, no NFL games this weekend, but who needs it? Because there's so much to watch this weekend. And by the way, don't forget the 2 big game 7s in Colorado. You have the Avalanche and the Stars in Dallas, and then you have the Nuggets and the Clippers on Saturday night back in Denver.
Well, if it's anything like Jalen Brunson's game-winning 3, it's going to be an exciting weekend. So thank you for tuning in for our premiere week of Front Office Sports Today. We'll be back next week with special guests Hulk Hogan, Flau'jae Johnson, and much more starting on Monday. Have a good weekend.